Hey guys, Ronan here again with Quick Cast TCG, and we just got the next spoiler article for Echoes of the New World, so I'm just going to go over them real quick. Um, yes, let's get right into it. First off, we got Fayli, Genius Ripoff Artist, Will of Hope, which is relevant again. We got some good Will of Hope cards this spoiler article. This is a pretty jank card. Obviously we can see some potential combo decks with her ability to put a token copy of another resonator you control into your field. Worth noting that effect to banish the token is similar to Dance of Shadows, so you can use this during your end phase to keep the token throughout your turn. And pretty much, what you're wanting to copy is big things with bomb enter effects. But it's just a bit too expensive for me. It costs 3 to play, and then you have to wait a turn to use her tap ability because she doesn't have swiftness. But yeah, and then it also implies you have something else good on the field, which sometimes you might not, and that your opponent won't interact with it. Which they can just kill Fayli, they can counter her. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to see play in a lot of decks. I just do want to go over one combo real quick with her, which is Lily's Petal's Assistant and Shadow of Lapis, which is it's a 3-card combo, but you get infinite copies of Lily's Petal's Assistant. So pretty much how this works is you have Fayli on the field, and you copy Lily's Petal's Assistant, and then that makes a token copy of it. So then you can play Shadow of Lapis, banish Shadow of Lapis to put a copy of the Lily's Petal token into your field, and then Lily's Petal's Assistant's effect obviously grabs Shadow of Lapis back onto the field, so you can just keep doing that infinite times to get infinite Lily's Petal's Assistant. I think this is a decent combo. This can obviously see play in a Fox deck, seeing as Fox normally runs Lily's Petal's Assistant, and you just chuck in 2 Faylis and then 1 or 2 Shadow of Lapises, and boom, you've got the option to hit that infinite combo. And you're still playing Fox, obviously, so it's a pretty strong deck. But other than that, I think, other than that, it's pretty janky card, and I don't think it's going to see a lot of play. Next up, we got Nyarlathotep, the Realized Truth. I don't think this card is that good. 400, 600 isn't great. It's not the best either. Flying's not really relevant at the moment, but it's nice to have. You can see this is similar to Pandora from the last spoiler. It releases the seal abilities of fire cards and spells. So obviously we do need to see some more seal cards before we can evaluate this properly. But at the moment I would say it's not really playable. The pump is interesting. It's something we haven't seen on a fire card, I believe. But yeah, you can pretty much give a target area you control +2, -2 defense until end of turn. So you can use this to sneak in some extra damage, or if your opponent thinks they can kill one of your resonators, you can just buff it up in response because it's going to die anyway, to maybe get a valuable trade off of that. The neg2 just really kills it for me. That's a lot. If you've got like a 900 defense resonator, you use this ability twice, suddenly they can lightning strike it or space time anomaly. But yeah, it's an interesting pump, but I don't think this is really playable at the moment. Maybe up post rotation, or depending on if we get some good seal cards, but obviously we'll have to see how we go with that one. Next up we got Red Riding Hood, Rainbow to the Heaven, so another Red Riding Hood card. One fire for a 4/4 Will of Hope, and then Seal 3 gains flying and swiftness. So obviously this is decent if you've got Seal 3. They're obviously being a lot more balanced with their aggro red cards. I just think, if you don't have Seal, it's not great. It's just a 1-drop 4/4 that does nothing. If you do get Seal, I think at that point there's better cards you want to be playing than this 1-drop 4/4. You could play a Lancelot at that point. Other good cards you could be playing. Yeah, I just don't think this is going to see play in a traditional red aggro list. I just think there's better things you could be playing than this card, so I don't think it's that good. Next up we got Rainbow Arrow. Quick cast chant, 1-drop, deals 400 damage to target J Resonator. So at this point, it's a strictly worst version of Lightning Strike. You can see it has Awakening. You can rest a recovered Red Riding Hood Rainbow of the Heavens, which is the card we just looked at, to make it deal 400 damage to each other target Resonator your opponent controls. To each other Resonator, sorry. So that pretty much just means it does 400 damage across the board if you tap one of these as an Awakening. So this obviously means you haven't untapped Red Riding Hood, which isn't great because you want to be attacking with that in a red list. And 400 across the board just isn't that great. I think there's better stuff you could be playing at that point. It does combo with Bear Magic to kill stuff, however that's 2-card removal. Which is, you'd still rather be playing Lightning Strike, I think, in a red list. So I don't think this card's any good at all. Blazing Floating Castle Refarth. This is pretty bad in my opinion. 2-drop edition that gives what J-Res is you control can block flying. We already saw a card like this, the Elven Village green drop. This ability isn't that great. It's not worth 2 mana investment. It does have Seal 7, which lets it tap for a 500 damage to target Jed Resonator. I think that would be decent if it could hit face, but it doesn't hit face, so it's not really great. And it's Seal 7, obviously, which means you need to have 7 stones. At that point, you probably would have already won or lost, so it's not really relevant. I also don't think this card is that great. So moving on, we have Melfi, Child of Refarth. Whenever another elf enters your field, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. Obviously snowballs fantastically in an elf tribal deck, but that's obviously not tier 1 at the moment. And yeah, the 1/1 stat line just means it dies to a lot of stuff in response to the elves. It even dies to Taba, which is obviously a very, very played card. So it dies to Tama, which obviously is a very highly played card, very common. So yeah, I think this card's not going to see any play at all. Will of Hope's sort of relevant, but obviously not that many Will of Hope elves spoiled at the moment. And the last card we got was Gale Force Pursuer Christie. This is one of I'd say this and Fayli is probably my 2 favourite cards out of this spoiler. Will of Hope, this is when it enters your field, remove target Darkness Resonator from the game. So this is obviously a great sideboard tech for the Light Jade Resonator Book of Hope. Very high value card, obviously, it's got 5/6 stats, which is great. And removes target Darkness Resonator. The only problem is there's not that many Darkness Resonators in the meta at the moment. We've got Fox and the RDE Blazer. That's about it though. And obviously the green and 1 means it's relevant in other decks. You can splash it in. And yeah, it's RFG removal, which is good. It locks out that RDE Blazer. They can't dance the shadow. They're Chimeras in Fox. Really high value card, and I think this one is just a really good card. It's a solid card. So that's it for the spoilers today, guys. Overall, I think we got some decent cards. I think Fayli is good, and could see playing a Fox deck just as like an alternate combo. And Christie's obviously a decent sideboard for Will of Hope. But yeah, I think keen for the next spoiler article, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.